When Mount Mulligan mine closed in the 50s, many moved, houses and all, to Collinsville. Now, like too many other mining towns, Collinsville has its Memorial Day and its Mining Heritage Centre. The mementos of working at a coalface made poignant by remembrance of those who didn't make it home. Just tell me about this photo that you're seeing here.
Yeah, well, I'm nearly sure that's Dad's was the first one on, because there's, what do you call it, one of the pallbearers, one of the Dad's stepbrothers. These are the pallbearers marching.
October 13, 1954, wrote Collinsville into the history of mining disasters when 7 men were asphyxiated. An outburst of carbon dioxide filled the mechanised No. 1 tunnel.
My uncle and them come running through and yelled out, "Run for it!" And I run with them. There was just like dust coming. Well, Peter Miller, he was a deputy on the shift, and he must have seen the dust and that coming, and he got up from the smoko table and went running down, and it just looked like somebody shot him in the back with a gun, and he just fell face forward, and nobody was game to go and get him because they must have knew it was gas or something.
We know that with this gas as it was, 3 breaths and you're dead. You have no chance. It takes all the oxygen out of your blood, and well, you're finished straight away with no air. When I went down, after we were allowed, you could look along the top of this, well, it outburst and just pushed the coal in front of it, and you know, hundreds and hundreds of tons. And there's so much air that came with this outburst, it was as level as a billiard table on top.
It was a Wednesday and I was going to the movies, and I was there pressing me dress to go to the movies. And we got word that there'd been an accident at the mine. And then we got word that Dad was in it, you know. And we were just gutted. You know, it was such a, you know, it's hard to explain.
Well, I mean, what would you say? Everybody in such a state of shock, you didn't know what was going on. I mean, and that, and when they loaded them all on the trucks, the women were in a terrible state. You just can't imagine the feeling in the town of that next day. Well, maybe you could imagine it, but you wouldn't know how bad it was.
People lying in the streets and had all the coffins on the back of a truck. Yes, it was a big thing. It's a bit hazy. I mean, not only so many years, but at that time you're so shell-shocked. It's the first time I've ever been to a funeral. For one to be so big and to be Dad, it wasn't real good.
The Royal Commission that followed was particularly bitter, with arguments over the suitability of mechanisation in the tunnel. The findings that neither owner, management nor employee had contributed to the disaster were denounced as a whitewash by the unions.
We were robbed of our father and our husband and our children, you know, and we were robbed of our granddads. And, you know, I'm very, even now you get a bit bitter, you know, over it. Especially like Mum, she sat through all the Royal Commission in Bowen and all the lies that they told. I mean, and we knew different, you know.